Epiphany. By the way, I love your name and I'm going to steal it if you don't mind about that.
Good morning. How are you?
I am doing great. Thank you so much for giving me that chance to have this conversation with you. So, you are a marketing expert and founder of Ayoka Essentials, which works toward creating a more joyful home. So, what a great adventure, you have. So, from being a marketing and planning strategist, so how did you get into marketing in the first place?
Yeah, well, what a great question. So I don't consider myself the traditional marketer. I actually got into that avenue through project management. So I started right after my undergrad. I went into kind of working and I worked for commercial research organizations in pharma. And that's how I ended up in pharma marketing. And then mostly through project management, program management. And I just love the world of like commercialization and bringing either a product to life, and whether it's a product that really saves people's lives, can really maintain people's lives through a horrible disease like cancer, or something as simple as my product line through Ayoka Essentials, trying to create a home that smells wonderful but also a product that gives back. Yeah.
Yes, yes, I love it. It's an idea that I haven't seen it because I know you can go to many places you get those type of products, but I never really seen it for like someone that's going to cancer that it can be okay for them to smell that.
Yeah. No, and the work that I do personally when it comes to self-care and well-being, it's not just limited to anyone, right? Like it's not limited to just a specific group of people, I should say. It's available to anyone. And from the aspect of creating a product, so my day job, just to give some background, I'm a commercial marketer within the pharma industry. But what I do for my own business, my own entrepreneur venture, Ayoka Essential, is also a way to take care of myself. So Ayoka came to being as a way for me to relieve stress. I wanted an outlet. When I started working in such a busy pharma industry, I was stressed and I couldn't find a way to just relax. And so one of the ways that I did that was starting to venture into the area of home essentials,
Mm.
and candles became an avenue for me. So I started making candles as gifts, and it took off into this world of not just candles, but home essentials, right? With room sprays and also reed diffusers for those who like the flameless options.
Yeah, but I love the idea itself. So
Thank you. Thank you. I
I
appreciate it.
I know you already give us a little bit background about the company, so but can you go more into details about everything that all products and the things that you offer that can help people?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So when I started Ayoka Essential, as I mentioned earlier, just around the background, was really to create products that are, less harmful to you at home. So I really was really looking at a non-toxic ways of having candles. And I don't know about you, but I grew up with my mom burning candles after cooking. I'm originally from West Africa. So we know that our meals oftentimes have an aroma. So she would burn candles. She would buy them at the local convenience store and burn them. And so as I started to explore candles as a product option, I said, well, there has to be a safe way. And I found out that in so many different candles, there's toxic chemicals like paraben, synthetic oils, and all of those things that are harmful to you in the long run. So I really wanted to focus on plant-based products. So I started by looking at the wax that I was using for the candles, and I said, well, how about a plant-based wax like coconut or soy wax that can be found anywhere and is sustainable to the environment and it's also good for you. And then we looked at just having a cotton wax, right? Because sometimes there's certain wax that have lead in it. Some people don't know that when they buy the candles. Yeah, yeah, and it's shocking, but if you don't look into your product, and that's what we educate about the Ayoka Essential line of products, is that our candles are all toxic free. They're vegan friendly, from the oils that we use to the wax that we use to the wick that we use, and our containers are glass containers, so they're recyclable and again sustainable. And then we go on to our next line of products that we developed in 2021. And I was so excited about this because I said, well, I don't just want to limit to candles. What else can I do? And the first thing was, I want, when I go to bed, I want to smell these same, fragrances and these same scents that I burn. So one of the product line I came up with was a room and linen spray. So essentially, you can burn the candle and you can use a water-based linen spray that has our unique essential oil blends on your fabric, on your bedding before you go to bed. So it calms you down, helps you relax. And it smells great, right? So you just want to bundle yourself in your pillow or, your couch or your curtains. But that's a very big part of that. So our goal was sustainability, eco-friendly, and really keeping it safe for you and your home and your children, right? Your whole family.
Yes. People first. That's how the whole time you are talking, the only thing that comes in my mind is like you think about people first before the money or anything else.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it's an important work for me because one of my values is service to others, right? And it's not enough to just create a product that people can go buy and it's great that you get money out of it, but what is the intent of it? How does it help everyone else? And that's also another piece of the values and the philosophy for Ayoka Essentials is we're very philanthropic because one of the things that I'm very interested in is giving back to where I come from. As I mentioned, I come from West Africa. So how do I give back through my product? But I think we'll get to that. But I'm just,
But
for me, it's a well-rounded, like it comes full circle, to be honest.
I agree with you on that, and also that it's when you said that you spray something or you smell a candle. I didn't know that's have something that can actually hurt you, like
Yeah.
by just smelling that. That's not something I ever. I'm like, oh, this smells good. Let me just buy it. I don't really
Yes,
look at the back to see what's on it. It just smells good. So it's good that
absolutely.
to know that you think about it in another way. Like, hey, you can smell this and you'll be okay. You're not gonna smell anything like you're smelling a cigarette that can get you sick.
Exactly.
Mine, whatever you smell it when you buy from Ayoka, it's going to make you feel good but not sick. And I love that about what you are doing.
Oh, thank you so much. And I think the message sometimes is that, for product-based businesses like myself, it's often difficult to try to not just sell a product, but I love to educate. And education is a big part of what we do because when you have a product like ours that the market is oversaturated. There's so many people out there with candles. So how do we educate so that we know that you as a consumer, right, that you can make a better decision when you purchase the product. We're not saying, hey, if you still choose to go to your, original candles that you bought, that's your choice. But we want to educate you so you can make the right decision. And preferably a plant-based, water-based, vegan product lines for your home.
So now, the whole time also, I'm thinking that perhaps your next product is about to be to wash the clothes. I don't know.
Oh,
So I
I
feel like it's
you
going
already.
that way.
I love the fact that you're already thinking ahead, and it's such an exciting space because one of the things that we hear so much from others is like, can you do this? And so I'll tell you a little bit of a story of a background on how we came up with our reed diffuser line. And I mentioned the candles and the room spray, but our reed diffusers are the third products in our line. And one of the ways we came up with, we would go to these shows and these pop-ups and talk to so many different people. And the number one thing they would say is, I'm older. Like, let's say I'm an elderly person and I love, to make my space smell great, but I can't burn a candle. I might forget, or I have a child, or I have a pet, and it might be too dangerous to have, flame somewhere on the table or on the counter. And so we came up with our reed diffuser line, and it's flameless. And you can set it and just like, forget it. And it will make your space smell amazing. You can put it in your bathroom and put it in your walkway. But it has the same essential oils that we put in our candles as well as in our room spray. So it meets for everyone. And to go back to your question about, perhaps, like a laundry line, I think there's so much, we just have a large window that we can do so many things. But really what we want to focus on is make sure that the product that we have, people see a use in it. And then similar to how you just gave us feedback, what else do you want to see from us? And, do we have the opportunity to expand our product line? Yeah, I love that idea. So yeah, absolutely. I love it. I love it.
So I know that your products are vegan and honor your roots. Can you throw some more light on this?
Yeah. And so one of the things that we wanted to do is I talked about the whole vegan piece is that, cleanness of a product is essential, right? Especially, let's say you have a perfume that you put on your body. You don't want to have any type of irritation, right? And so we were really keeping in mind. I have a business partner whose, son and other family members had, asthma. And so we wanted to make sure that they had the ability to, have this product in their home, and it's hyperallergenic and it doesn't cause any irritation to the airway. And that's the piece about vegan. We're also exploring, and sort of in our next phase is making sure that we are 100% in all aspects, right? Because the ingredients on the products is number one. And we can get that 100% clean, vegan, plant-based, we've won. And so far, so good. Our reed diffusers have bamboo reeds, which is very sustainable. And then we think about that. And then our oils are all essential oil blends that are actually custom made by me. So I blend all of the different scents. Yes, I take very, very great pride in doing that. But it's an effort that takes time, and it takes a lot of energy. And it's very it's very thought forward, right? We think of the people first. If I wouldn't have it in my home, I wouldn't want somebody to have it in their home.
I like that. But now, do you make the products in the United States or do you make them from Africa?
Oh, my dream is to make it back home in West Africa. And I'm obviously I'm from Côte d'Ivoire, if I haven't said that, but I'm from the Ivory Coast. And part of my mission in giving back, I was born there. I came to the States, and part of my mission is going back and really creating a sustainable workforce and helping people provide for themselves. So that is our long-term goal. Today, we are solely sourced in the United States of America, and we're a U.S.-based organization. And all of our products are made here. All of our shipping is here. So we ship to the US and Canada. We're looking to ship, elsewhere internationally, in 2023. That's part of our long-term goal. But yes, I would love to have a branch in Cote d'Ivoire and partner with, amazing, companies that are looking to expand and support, really products that are made domestically in that country.
I love that. And I think that also that will help a lot also with women. So if I always say, when I talk, I always put women first.
Yes.
It's that because that's what I love supporting other women. And I think that we need to support more. I'm not saying men doesn't need support. You guys do need it. It's just, it's not for me. But so I always look at it this way that anything that we can do, it doesn't matter where in the world, as long as we're supporting other women, for me, it's like a huge thing because we can use that support everywhere we can find it. So if you do that in Cote d'Ivoire, that would be awesome.
Yes, on the verge, right? Because with everything, it's in time. And I love the fact that you asked that question, because and also the idea of supporting women, because I truly believe that if you educate a woman, you've literally educated the village. That's a saying that I don't know if many are aware of, but if you educate a woman, you've educated the entire village. And not to say men cannot be educated. I come from a family background where my grandfather was a scholar, and so he made sure everyone in the family was educated. That's great. But, part of the philanthropic piece of Ayoka Essentials is helping to put young girls through school. And that is so important, because I think for us, education was a starting point for me to be able to be here in the States and have this dream and this idea of building a business that can give back home.
Wow. I don't have anything to add to that.
So, well, I appreciate that.
So how do you use your years of experience in the pharma marketing industry to optimize your business?
Oh my God. And it's so cathartic, because in a million years, I wouldn't have thought of the industry that I'm in professionally, career wise. And not just that, but also I've always had a dream of starting a business. I just didn't know where and how and where to start, to be honest. And I say that because it's such a critical piece for so many to hear is, when they see these entrepreneurs, they think you've had this, birth of fire in a business from the beginning. No, sometimes, you had a dream and you kind of put it to the side, and it builds up, and eventually you have a business. And so when I started in pharma, I think one of the biggest things that I learned is in order for you to launch a product, you truly have to understand your market, right? You truly have to understand the market that you're coming into, and then also your target audience. For e-commerce is very different from a pharmaceutical drug because, again, as I said, it's not something that, you can live without a candle, you can live without a room spray. But from a pharma standpoint, a lot of these drugs are helping patients live a little bit longer. And so there's viability to that in a sense that it's something that is critical to life. And so what I did in my learning is learn these techniques. Who are my audience? Why am I doing this? What's my why? What am I bringing to them? What's the value? How am I positioning my brand along with so many others in such a saturated market? And then what message do I want, you as a consumer to take away when you're holding my product, purchasing my product, or even if you see it on the shelf on the grocery store, what's going to make you pick it up versus someone else's? And so those are the techniques that I learned. And I mentioned being a project manager. Well, so that means you're a planner at heart. You are constantly planning, so thinking ahead. And this came in handy launching the Ayoka Essential brand because you have to stay a step ahead when building a business because it's a completely different venture. As you may know, it's entrepreneurship is not for the faint of heart. I can tell you.
Oh, no. And even when you decided to say, okay, I'm going to be an entrepreneur, it's like you have to really, 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 really have that soul on you to keep you going because you might end up giving up within a second.
Oh, absolutely. And I will tell you, I'm not immune to that. I think even at the start, we launched Ayoka Essentials in 2018, but it was something I've been thinking of since 2016. And so you see, there were a 2-year gap to prepare, to plan, and to really ask myself, do I want to do this? Do I want to do this? And how do I want to do it? What's the village that I want to put behind me to support me in doing this? Because at times it can be a very, solo venture for you. And it can be very lonely. It can be stressful. It can be confusing. So you really have to think through how you want to go about it. My number one thing is find a mentor, find someone who's really going to help you along the way. They're not going to do everything, but that mentorship gives you a sense of security that you can keep going and you can do that.
Exactly. And I think also that kind of help you from the because you have this moment where you're like, forget about it. I'm done with this. Because you have the moment you just turn off the computer, you put everything away, it's like, forget about it. This is too much. It
Yeah,
just happened to all of us.
it does. It does. It does. And when that moment happens, you start to remember, well, why did I start this in the first place? What's my why? And this is why I tell, many entrepreneurs that I mentor, organizations that I support that are nonprofit. I said, you really have to define your why. Because let me tell you, if your why is not something that you repeat every day, you will have a problem staying the course. And there are moments you're going to feel like you said, forget it. Let me put the computer down, just shove it under a drawer somewhere, never look back at it. You're going to have moments like that. There are moments where you close the bathroom door and you cry. It's just realistic. That is what it is because it's a very unique and stressful phase. But once you identify your why and why do you want to continue? Why did you start? I think about, those girls and young boys as well who are in the Ivory Coast who, their challenge of just going to school is so immense, or in Liberia, and their challenge of going to school is so immense. So if the parents have a choice to put their child through school or to even, say, no, I want you to work, for them, that means they don't get the education that so many of us have been privileged to. So my why is rooted in that is how do I give back? How do I make sure I connect back to my roots? How do I make sure that this product that's made locally here has a global impact? So we have a long ways to go. We're definitely not near where we want to be as a company. But I'm so grateful for opportunities to talk to you and others and tell the story and really tell them what it's about.
I think that the number one thing is from 2016 that you have the idea until today, 2023, you still haven't quit yet. So this is like the biggest thing ever here. So you not only like it took you 2 years to launch it, but you took that step anyway, even you know that you don't know what's behind that door when you get there. So you still did it anyway. So I think it's the number one thing that I think that's the number one thing when we do it, that it's open the doors to let young girls or young boys know that it's okay, you can do it too. I was scared, just like you are scared right now, but
Absolutely.
I took the big step anyway and I did it. And I think that just that, it's a big help for them out there.
Absolutely. I think of sometimes they say, with entrepreneurship, as long as you keep going, you've already won. And
Right.
so you said it so perfectly. The fact that from 2016 to 2023, and let's just sit in that, right? We're in 2023. And in the fact that there's so many others who started their business probably along the same line, they're today not in business, that you can think of yourself as, you've won so far. You've won the battle of the will, the battle of confidence to continue. And you will get some of those moments where, you would want to give up, but it's continuing, just putting one foot in front of the other. And I love that. And sometimes having a career that you love and you pursue, and also having an entrepreneur passion, sometimes you feel like there's the two are at conflict, right? Because you're like, oh my God, but you still got to pay the bills and you still have
Yes.
to be able to continue the dream. And trust me, you can do both. I'm not a believer in you have to end one and pursue the other 1,000%. I really am not. Some people may be, but I'm not. And so I think of the fact that when I'm doing this, when I'm working on Ayoka or I'm working on my corporate day to day, what are some of the key things that keep me going? And to be honest, I go back to my value. My faith is very important. My family is important, and giving back to the community is something that fuels me. So if I keep that in mind, I agree with you. Just the sky is not even the limit. You can keep going.
Yeah, just keep on going. And like even when you say that we have this moment, and it's okay. Usually, I tell people it's okay to have the moment where you feel like this is it. This is the end. It's okay to have. Allow yourself to cry if you need to cry. Allow yourself to scream. Normally, sometimes I will scream at my husband. I'm like, can I scream at you? No, sometimes I don't even ask. I just scream. So you just have to let it out. You
Yeah.
do need to let it out. So let it out. Talk to someone about it. And that's where a mentor comes in. You can just call. Can I talk to you? Can I scream for a moment? I'm not screaming at you. I'm screaming at myself, but I need to let it out because it's bugging me. So it's okay. Just let them out and then take that second to let it out, and then go back to it again. Keep on moving forward. So I always tell people, do not take a long break, because sometimes we have this moment we feel like, okay, I'm going to take the rest of the year off. Don't do that.
No, no, absolutely don't do that. And I've had this moment. I was watching, I watch YouTube a lot, and so does so many others. And it just so happened one of the YouTube videos was on Oprah Winfrey, and one of the message was around, allowing yourself to have that moment where you just, whether it's cry, whether it's vent, whatever you want to do, but allow it to just be that one moment and say, okay, I'm giving myself 30 minutes. And after that 30 minutes, that's it. We got to keep going. Let's go. Let's do what we got
That's
to
me.
do. Let's do what we got to
the, the funny thing with me, I don't think I even have the 30 minutes, because the moment that I step away from my computer, my son look at me, Mom, what are you doing? You're not making money. You're not in the computer. You're not helping anybody. So you're not doing anything. Mommy, you need to go back to it. I'm like, oh yeah, my purpose. I gotta go.
You gotta go. Your purpose. You know what? Your son is an accountability partner, and that's also what's important about entrepreneurship. And when you think about even the space of marketing and planning, it's also about stepping back and hearing what your customers have to say. And that's the same thing when you're dealing with a tough time, whether it's where your business is headed, or being able to even keep your business afloat, right? Being able to balance your books and do those kind of fundamental things that keeps it alive, and you get frustrated, or you just had a horrible batch of product, your product go horribly wrong. And I've had that happen. I've lost products, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I had plans for this. And so how do you manage that stress and help yourself reset, right? Use that as a learning opportunity. And in project management, we talk about, doing things that are called retrospective, right? Even in the agile methodology in planning, you said, okay, let me look back at what went well, what didn't go so well, and how can I improve, versus kind of sitting there and dwelling on, oh my gosh, it didn't go well, and woe is me. It's like, how do I make it better? And what did I overlook? And you can take yourself out. You don't even have to say I. You can just say, by the way, what didn't go so well about this? Get a couple of your accountability partners together and have them talk through it as if it's not you, because sometimes we're so attached to what we're doing, it's hard to see beyond that.
Yes, I agree with you on that, and I think it's a great example for people that's listening to this. It's okay to fail. It's okay to make mistakes because you are not perfect, but learn from them and don't make them again and keep moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely.
So now you are committed to promoting the welfare of others through your business. So what are the activities that you engage in to give back to the community?
Now, one of the things that's so fundamental for not just myself, but for Ayoka Essential is volunteering. So we're very big at volunteering in helping to feed those who are in need in the States here. The other piece is also mentoring. There is a nonprofit organization that I'm part of. It's called Women Who Create. And it was founded by a wonderful girl named Shauna Margaret. And her intent of that nonprofit organization is to make sure to support young girls, whether it's in that creative space or whether they want to go into media, digital, music, whatever it is, whatever their dream is to pursue. And so I mentor in that organization, but I also sit on the board of that nonprofit. And when I think about that is, you have to start small when you're thinking about making an impact. I can't solve the world's problem. We know how big that is, right? So let's hope, but I can't solve the world's problem. And so if I look at impacting one individual at a time, and I also look at impacting, from an organizational standpoint with this nonprofit, what would it mean? What would be the ripple effect? And I always think about that. I think about the ripple, because you think you're helping one person, but that one person is connected to so many multitudes of individuals that can make, an impact as a human being. And I think that's what it boils down to. So volunteering, mentoring, supporting nonprofits for me is part of the service. And I do all of this obviously stateside, but the next venture is to take that along the way to Côte d'Ivoire, to Ivory Coast, to Liberia, as impacting West Africa, because why not? Or even impacting all of Africa in general. I don't even want to limit it to that, or the diaspora in the Caribbeans. And it's so important because I have a Haitian connection, and so that's why I think that is so interesting that whether regardless of the part of the world you come from, the idea of service and giving back and doing your work is so important.
So for right now in Africa, how are you supporting right now with
Yeah.
the company?
Yeah, so Ayoka gives 10% of the proceeds that we make from all of our sales. So from all of our product sales online, 10% of that goes to schools and building schools and also putting girls through school. So that includes some building something as simple as a chalkboard. There's schools that don't have that. So we make sure that we identify what their needs are and we put the 10% funds towards that so that they can build a new chalkboard. And I don't know, it seems so simple and so trivial to most, but if you are a child and you go into a classroom and the teacher cannot write on the chalkboard because it is broken,
Okay.
I mean, can you just imagine, right? Or if you're a child and you don't get a meal when you go to school, even if the country has waived, fees for K through 12 schools, you still have to think about meals, right? And if I'm a parent with 4 or 5 kids, how do I feed them for breakfast? How do I feed them for lunch? Keeping in mind that most children in developing countries have to go a long distance to get to school. So it's not so the school bus doesn't come and grab you and take you to school in certain countries. Yeah. And so what does that mean? You can't eat. So we ask the schools, what is it that they need? What is it that they see that their students need? And some of them is also scholarship when they're past, what we call 12, right? Grade 12. And they're going to upper level. They do have to pay for more things, right? That's beyond just K through 12. So we help them identify those students who need it and put the funds towards that. And we've been very lucky to be able to partner with so many to help, even at a small fraction. Our goal is to make sure in every school there's an opportunity where there's a chalkboard that's maintained, the roof is maintained so that water doesn't get in, which prevents kids from not coming to school, because that is a problem. Roofs leak in schools in developing countries, and it impacts kids going to school or teachers coming to teach. So that is how we're currently supporting, and we want to expand. And so we spread the word no matter where we go. It's a very big thing. And that's our philosophy. We want to make sure that we're able to give back.
Like you said, here in the United States, probably when you're talking about the roof gonna leak, people are gonna be like, "What do you mean the roof going to leak?" So yeah, you need to go to another country to be able to see that the leak actually can. It will happen. You'll be sitting in the classroom and then your papers are wet. So
Yeah,
it's possible. And also when you talk about the shotwell, it's like, yeah, they don't. Not only like even the shot themselves to write, they don't have
they
that.
don't have
So
that.
it sounds small, but it's big. So that's something that they need. And you say that you are helping in a small way, but you are not. You are already making a big difference, because the little things are the one that we need the most sometimes, and we can't even afford to get it because we don't have it. So how many people in the world right now might need just a penny to
Mm,
go buy something? They're missing just that one penny, but they can't find that one penny. So
yeah,
guess what? What you don't have become a big problem. Just a penny, but you can't find it.
absolutely.
So you are helping in a big way, and then you will continue to help step at a time.
Yeah.
But
No,
right now, you are doing a lot. So and like you said, anyhow that we can help, please let us know. We'll be more than happy to help. But the support right now you're offering to them is bigger than you think. It's bigger than you can imagine. For you, you might think, I want to build the entire school, but they
oh,
don't
I
need the entire school right now. They just need the roof.
do. Oh, that is part of the mission, and the goal is to build schools, right? And and work with the local government and the local leaders to make sure that this is their school to maintain and to kind of shepherd along. But that's our absolute long. I said long because sometime a year it could be long, or 2 years could be long, but that is our long-term vision. And thank you. It very much appreciated, because I agree. I'm a big believer in that little ripple effect. If you've ever seen, you just go on a lake and you drop in a rock, you see the ripple. And so it goes as far as it can exceed. But the more of that we have, the more we can touch, the more people we can support and help.
Absolutely, absolutely agree with that. So what are the three marketing strategies that are required to run a successful business, especially in a male-dominated industry?
Oh my goodness.
I'm putting you on the spot here. I'm putting you
Oh
on the
my
spot
goodness.
here.
No. And I'm happy to answer. And I think part of that is that there isn't just one or two or three, that you kind of have to go into your toolkit. But I can just speak to the three that I feel like have really helped me. The first one I mentioned earlier is really about understanding your why. And I say that because for everything, there is a why and a what and then a how. But it starts with the why, defining the why, because that is going to help you say, okay, I want to bring my customers, I want to bring something to life that most people haven't done. But how are you doing it differently? How? How? So if I go back to my why am I starting it? What is in it? And how? And so I often think about, okay, if I have a candle, a home essential, it includes reed diffusers and room spray, and I'm bringing it to you, right? You're going to be like, great. And there's somebody who's lined up who's like, yes, I'm bringing it to you. And it comes with a trumpet. And you're like, oh, even better. And somebody's like, no, I'm bringing it to you. And it comes with a car. And you're like, oh my
Oh
gosh, even better.
yeah.
Right? And so at every step, when you think about you're creating a business and you're thinking about the strategy that you're going to use to bring your product to life, to bring your product to a customer, you have to think about your why. Then you have to think about how you position it, right? How are you positioning that brand that you're creating? And the same goes for us, right? Epiphany as a person, but Epiphany also has a brand. And how am I positioning myself to be able to make sure that people understand what is it that I'm bringing to life, and not just selling, because the word selling, what is it that you're selling? Okay, great. But what is it that I'm bringing to life? And by the way, how does it impact you? How does it impact you? Like, I mean, if I ever have to, how does it impact? I don't know. They get to have my product. No, that doesn't impact them because they're using their money and they're purchasing your product. So, what impact do you want them to get out of it? And so, one of the things that's rooted also in that is, one of the tools that I've used is about my message. What message do I want to tell? I'm a born storyteller. I come from family that love to tell stories. And it's just part of my roots and where I come from. And so in building this brand, one of the things is, what story do I want to tell? And how do I want to message it? So that when you just buy one of our product, you're like, wow, I can't be in West Africa to go and build a chalkboard. I can't be in West Africa to go and make sure this child has, a meal after school. But by buying this product, I know I'm one step closer to that. And I'm closer to a bigger mission, to a bigger goal. So that goes back to the why. And I mentioned three things already, but one thing that I cannot live without, and I will say this, and people will be like, okay. One thing I cannot live without is having a system in place. And what I mean by a system, it could be people, it could be a tool like whatever you may use. I'll use the example of Calendly because it's something that I use all the time, right? To make sure my schedule is seen in one place. I have multiple calendars and multiple schedules and meetings that come up, but that's just one tool, but there's so many different tools, right? And so when I think about as a marketer and as a planner, staying on top of what you have planned, what you're planning to do, what has already happened in the past, how you are going to plan to do the next thing, what are the dependencies of that? That is critical in running a business, having a system. And by the way, do you have people who can support you? Right? Because you can't make it all work by yourself. Trust me, I've tried. I've tried and I've failed miserably. And so you need different people to do different things, right? You can't stay as the strategy, the head, the vision of the business and do every single part of the operation. It's just not,
Impossible.
it's impossible. So those are the three things that I really talk about. It's your what, your why, your what, your how, and having a system. I would say four, but having a system, those things are critical. And I think the rest you fill in, you'll find out that once you land your why, oh, okay. And now it makes sense on, okay, by the way, I want to expand to this product line. You mentioned, about potentially this is your next product line to go into home and laundry. I'm like, yeah, let me go back to my why. Say, why did I start this? Because is home and laundry really part of the long haul, And so you have to be able to understand those three things. And trust me, everything will come along, and you'll be amazed. But nobody is born knowing how to run a business. We've all learned from others. So yeah. It's a long-winded way of answering your question, but those are definitely keys that keep me going.
No, I liked it because you went into details to it, so it kind of helped people understand it. And also, I love the fact that you use yourself as an example, your business as an example. So that's it's very helpful. So people kind of have an idea of why it is important because I know they probably hear it all the time, but they don't understand why they actually really need this. Why you need to actually, before you even do anything else, you need to lay out these things to help you, not just right now, but also in the near future when you need it.
Yeah.
So now owning a business as a Black woman in the 21st century in America is like, oh yeah. So how's the entire experience been for you?
Deep breaths, right? I just took that deep breath because I needed to take it all in. You said a couple of things in that question, which is as a Black woman in America. That's a mouthful. One, as a Black woman, period, whether I'm an entrepreneur or in corporate, it is 4 or 5 times as difficult. and you couple it up with, I have a dream and I want to pursue that dream. And I want people to join me in pursuing that dream and making an impact. It's an uphill battle. Specifically, even starting from a funding standpoint, it's very hard to get funding as a Black woman. Now they will tell you there's a lot of grants that you can go and you can, enter scholarship, whatever you want to call it. That's fantastic. It doesn't work for everybody. It doesn't work for every business model. And it's very hard for any investor to, one, understand the vision, but also to take, I even want to say a risk, but to take any risk with you or your business or your goal or your objective. And you can have everything laid out as beautifully as possible so that they understand the operation, the strategy, the long-term vision, the short-term goals. But what it comes down to is, as a Black woman, you have to be very resourceful. You have to find in every nook and cranny partnerships with people that, one, are aligned to your value, are aligned to the things that you want to do and you want to pursue. And then also who understand that even in the short term, you may not have everything that's there, but I see that in the long term, you will, because you put in place the systems, the processes, you put in place the partnership to be able to do that. So as a Black woman, you are working 3-4 times as harder to be able to, one, stand out from the rest, but also to say, hey, I deserve to be in this space. And I'm going to work as hard as I know to be in this space. And I need for, like-minded people, like-minded businesses to come and support me in this venture. And I've seen it, and I'll be honest, like I've had support from all walks of life in, building Ayoka Essentials. And I'm so grateful for it. But the journey has not been easy. It's been very difficult with a lot of ups and downs. And I speak of financial investment because we need more than just mentorship. I'm sorry. Black women business owners need more than just mentorship. I'm not the first to say it. I probably won't be the last, but we need more than that. We need investment. We need time. We need, the ability to say, I see you, sis. I see the value that you bring, and I want to support you to get there. And by the way, I see the dream that you're building and the impact that it's going to make. And for me, that's key. The human impact. And if I can stand behind that, oh my gosh, absolutely. I will, listen, I will come and support you in all facets. But from what I've seen and where I've been sitting since 2018, it has not been an easy battle. And I think even as my business continues to grow, it's going to continue to be an uphill battle. Yeah, they said you might think the bigger you get, the less battles you have, but no, the bigger you get, the more is coming to you. So having the right people behind you or next to you, I should say, having the right people along the journey is so important.
I have to say that I agree with that. And I asked you that question because I wanted to see how you're gonna answer on it. Because I know I went through a lot. Don't get me wrong, just like you said, I had people stand with me from different type of colors, background in the world. But also at the end of the day, I'm Black.
Yes.
So it doesn't really matter.
Nope.
I'll share something with you. We reach out to, like, once in a while we'll get those. We reach out to women to be in the magazine, and it was after hours, so my staff couldn't reply. So one of them replied and said that I don't support Black women. I see your founder is Black. That not only I read that message that day, I went to bed. I said, how come another woman send that message to another woman, regardless of the color?
Wow. I'm
And she
closing
was
my eyes
straight with
because,
it.
wow. I'm closing my eyes
Yeah.
because I'm just trying to really imagine. I can't, I mean, the word imagine doesn't even do it justice, but it's the fact that it's not only just blatant, but it exists all the time. It exists all the time. And I know what that immediate response does to you. You're kind of taken back, but you already know what it is. You already know the game. It's unfortunate to say, but you already know the game and you already know how it rolls. And so one is taking it in to say, okay, if I'm trying to do, let's say I'm about to go to a meeting and I get something like that, how do I shake myself up really quick to say, okay, get back your
But
mind.
you know what I did that day? I replied back, say, why you don't support Black women?
Yeah.
Because I wanted to know.
Did you get a
She said,
response?
yeah, she said that they shouldn't exist in the first place.
Yeah. Wow.
And I said, thank you. I replied, I said, thank you.
And that's unfortunate, because that's, when you think about humanity, right? It's something that strikes a chord with me, because you have to be able to look at a person and say, this is a human being. And all of us have dreams, and all of us have envisioned our lives, whether our families, where we want our children to be. And so for you to utter, such hate, and guess what? Whatever you think about, whether you don't want to work with me because I'm Black, that is fuel for me to even excel and abundantly excel. And I always go back
Exactly.
to, we talk about faith, but, I mentioned that is one of my core pillars, right? And I always say that God doesn't make mistakes. So at the end of the day, whatever it is that you believe is going to cause me to not succeed in business because I am Black and I'm a Black woman, trust and believe that will allow me to exceed so beyond any measure that, I don't even think about you. But yeah, I absolutely agree. And I've never had anyone say that to me explicitly about my business and saying, hey, I don't want to work with your business. But I absolutely, I get it in all facets, right? It may just be, oh, this is not the right time for us to invest in a business like yours. That's a politically correct way, or so they say, right?
I'll take that. Yeah, I'll take that. But when you know, I wanted to be mad that day. I wanted to be angry, but I
Mhm.
have to put myself in a place where, like, okay, maybe the way she was raised, maybe that's the way that's what she was taught. Maybe that's the way her parents think, and she never really be open minded to understand that. So for me, I like, okay, I feel sad for you because you don't understand the world itself.
Yes.
So I love you. Anytime you need support, I'll be there to support you and help you
Absolutely.
understand why you should appreciate everyone on earth, not just one.
Not
So,
just absolutely.
and I let it be. And my mission stand. I support women. It doesn't matter where you come from, who you are. I don't care. You are a woman. I support you. That's where it is. It's ended there. So, and I don't think that didn't change who I am, but I felt bad for her at the end of the day. I have to tell you, I really did feel bad for her. Let's go to Black History Month coming up in February. Any
Yeah.
final words of encouragement for Black businesswomen?
Ah, we are so powerful beyond any measure. I was born of a Black woman who was born of a Black woman who was born of a Black woman, and the history continues. And my children will be born of a Black woman. And what I say to any Black woman, but even any woman in general in business, but I'll speak to my Black sisters first. You deserve to be where your dream wants to go. You deserve it. Whether it needs to take you to a Fortune 500 company where you're pitching your business, whether you're pitching your business for $10 million to investors, whether your business is expanding globally in such a different facet that you can't even imagine, you deserve to be there. And know that you deserve to be there in all facets. There is no magical pill to take to immediately get you to your desired state. It will be grueling. It will be grueling, but you deserve to be there. And I think once we understand that we deserve, because there's such an aspect of owning your own business, that level of vulnerability, putting yourself in front of others. Example you just stated, where you reach out to, people to see if, they want to be part of the magazine. That's a level of vulnerability and humanity that should not be met with, I don't work with Black women. But like you said, you wish her well because you know you deserve to be where you are and even much bigger. And so you will be interviewing Oprah, right? That's my goal for you. You will be interviewing her, and you will be interviewing so many impactful people in this world, and you already have. And so you deserve to be in that space. So that will be my message. My second message is that I don't think Black History Month is just one month. We are Black all year round. We need to support each other all year round. We need to be able to lean on each other all year round. We need to sound the voice of Black businesses all year round, support them, whether it's a posting, whether it's just commenting, whether it's purchasing a product, all year round. And then to all women out there, I simply want to say, as a woman, you, oh my goodness, oh my gosh. I came to this country, I didn't know a lick of English. I was 11 years old when we came. And I learned English as a language. And some people might say, well, so did I. Well, that didn't change anything. But I learned English. And in the process of learning English, I realized who I am and how I want to represent myself in the world. And so I say this to all women. Know how you want to be represented. And make sure that you be face forward to everything and how you want to be represented. Don't compromise who you are. And for me, that's my advice.
Wow. I don't have anything to add to it. I'm not even going to touch it. Well said. Thank you so much, Epiphanie, for taking the time to have this conversation and allow me to learn about your business and how you help in Côte d'Ivoire and here in the US as well. And also, I think that one of the things also I really want to thank you for supporting young girls, but also for having a product that is made here in the US as well, because we do need to lift this country up as well as overseas, because I don't know, if it goes more down, we probably won't know what to do. So
Yeah.
I thank you for all you are doing. I don't know how you find the time. I don't know how you find the energy to do everything you are doing, but all the people that's behind you, that's supporting you, I think them all to keep you going, to keep you moving forward. And anyhow that I can support, women can support, please feel free to reach out.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me, and have a blessed year. Thank you.